Also last night there in South Fulton, the interim public safety director's contract was extended until May 31st of next year. He was brought in after Chief Meadows was put on leave and is now in charge of both the police and fire departments. Well, over the past week, we've seen employees across the country face disciplinary action over what they've been posting on social media in the aftermath of activist Charlie Kirk's death. Now, Kirk was shot and killed during a political rally and an event at Utah Valley University. Online comments are now putting current jobs and job roles and offers at risk. We've already seen this unfold here in Metro Atlanta, impacting some of our local schools. Well, this morning on The Take, our Cheryl Preheim spoke to an expert about the growing conflict between employers and online posts and what legal protections, if any, employees have when it comes to free speech.
All right, let's dive into a topic so many people are talking about right now. More and more, what you post online can follow you straight into the workplace. Employers aren't just checking resumes anymore. They are scrolling through your social media feeds. And as we've seen in recent days and weeks, those posts are sometimes costing people job offers or even their current positions. A Career Builder survey found 7 in 10 employers use social media or online searches to screen job candidates. More than half of those employers found content on social media that led them not to hire a candidate, and a third have reprimanded or fired a current employee because of something they found on their social media. 70% of employers use social media or online searches to screen job candidates. 57% of those employers found content on social media that led them not to hire someone. 34% have reprimanded, as we mentioned, a current employee because of something they found. So in the last couple of weeks, we've seen employees across the country lose their jobs after controversial or offensive posts surfaced online. So where is the line between free expression and employer rights? Let's bring in Deepa Das Acevedo, an associate professor of law at Emory University, to help us sort it all out and what's legally at stake here. Thank you so much for the time. This is a conversation I'm just hearing out and about in the community a lot right now.
It's happening everywhere, it seems like, and in all kinds of industries and workplaces.
So why does what you post on social media matter so much to employers?
Well, employers are aware that there is a lot of bleed through between your personal life and your professional life. So they're concerned that anything that you say, even if you're saying it in a personal capacity and even if it violates no law, will be associated with them and will create disruptions in the workplace or legal liabilities for them.
So both when they're deciding to hire you and once you're already on the job, those kind of thoughts are going to both weigh in pretty heavily?
Yeah, this is something that really becomes relevant before you've even begun the job and stays relevant for as long as you're in the job. Unfortunately, there's no definite cutoff for this, which means that in a sense, everything that you do becomes part of who you are as an employee, not simply who you are as a person.
I overheard a conversation at the grocery store that was so interesting. Someone was talking about this in the checkout line, and they were saying, I wonder if we're going to start seeing lawsuits that people file who were fired, saying that, you know, they have the legal right to express their feelings. What legal protections, if any, do employees have when it comes to their personal social media accounts, especially in the private sector? Where does the First Amendment apply or not directly apply?
Well, so the easy answer to that is that the First Amendment does not apply against private sector employers. The First Amendment is a limit on governmental authority to regulate and limit speech. It is not a limit on private workplace employers. So essentially, private employers have the right to fire people for most reasons related to their speech. Not everything, but this is what we call the at-will rule of employment, which means that an employer can fire you at will for good reason, bad reason, or no reason at all. And that includes things that you might say on your social media.
At will, an important clause to know. So from a legal standpoint, how much do employers have room to discipline or terminate over those kinds of comments?
In many states, in many industries, private sector employers are virtually unfettered in the disciplinary or termination actions they can take against employees for comments that are made in the employee's personal capacities that break no law, if the employer finds it displeasing, embarrassing, or disruptive. It's really quite a wide-ranging power. In some sectors, in some states, there are statutory limitations that might apply to private employers. And it's important to remember that there are reasons that private employers can't discipline or terminate employees, such as anything that has to do with race, sex, national origin, and a few other protected categories. And where those protected categories intersect with a speech act by an employee or a social media post by an employee, then there might be some limitations on the employer's ability to act, and the employee might have a claim. But otherwise, the general baseline rule is that a private sector employer has pretty unfettered ability to discipline or terminate employees for their speech.
All right, important point to end on. We really appreciate the guidance and the insight there. Deepa Das Acevedo, thanks so much for the time.
And you can watch more interviews like that on 11 Alive News The Take. Again, Cheryl was filling in for Chesley today. The Take streams live Monday through Friday beginning at 9 a.m.